All right, peace and blessings to you all. First of all, I'd like to start by giving all praise and glory to the Most High God Yahweh through His only begotten Son by way of the Holy Spirit, and double honors to the apostles and elders who taught me this truth. Salutations to the elect, which are the 144,000, the governing body of the future kingdom of heaven. In this video, I'd like to discuss idolatry. And it's evident that in this day and age, people make idols of all sorts of things, from the latest technologies to celebrities, social media influencers, or what have you. I mean, you can only imagine how people form lines when the newest iPhones or the newest Michael Jordan shoes come out all through the night, just to be the first ones to have it. But without further ado, I'm going to start with the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 3. And it reads, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments." I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Moving right along, this is the book of 1 John chapter 5, verse 21. "Little children, keep yourselves from idols." Amen. This is the book of Psalms chapter 115, verse 4. "Their idols are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat. They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that's trusted in them. They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusteth in them." So those who make the idols are just like the idols. They're weak, just void, void, meaningless. And those that trust in them are, pretty much the same, just without meaning, just hopeless. This is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 21. Because that when they knew God, because that when they knew Yahweh, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Right? Because that when they knew Yahweh, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. So, these foolish people who make gods in the form of birds, they carve out just statues that look like birds, lions or what have you, just, different, just images of different things that are living, and they worship it. And the scripture calls them fools because, it's obvious that it's foolish to do that. This is the book of Jonah, chapter 2, verse 8. "They that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy. they that observe lying vanities. So the statues, these idols, they're lying vanities. It's vain. They're lying vanities, and so therefore you forsake your own mercy, because it's only the living God that can give you true mercy. It's only the living God that can give you mercy. So you forsake your own mercy when when you worship these things. Verse 9, but I will sacrifice unto thee with the voice of thanksgiving. He said, I will sacrifice unto thee, the Lord. I will sacrifice unto you, the Lord, with the voice of thanksgiving. I will pay that I have vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. I will pay that I have vowed. What did he vow? The service of the Lord. He vowed to serve the Lord and to do the will of the Lord. So he says, I will pay that I have vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. You cannot get salvation from idols. Point blank, period. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 18. What profiteth the graven image that the maker thereof hath graven it? The molten image, and a teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusted therein to make dumb idols. What profiteth, the graven image? What is it that the graven image profits? We know why we worship the Most High God, because there is a reward and there's a promise that he made to us. And he also, it's not like he needs us, but he also profits, when his kingdom, when the kingdom that he ordained even from the beginning is set up. There's profit for the Lord in the kingdom, in the kingdom that he ordained from the beginning. That's profit. That's something tangible, right? But what profited the graven image? The graven image, it's lifeless. What does it profit? Nothing. What profited the graven image that the maker thereof had graven it? What is the point that what is it that this graven image is going to get from you carving it? Nothing, right? But the Lord will get praises from us forever. The molten image and a teacher of lies. These statues and these things that, it's just all lies. It's just all lies that they perpetuate in the form of all these different religions, that the maker of his work trusted therein to make dumb idols. This is the book of Galatians chapter 4, verse 8. Howbeit then, when ye knew not God, howbeit then, when ye knew not Yahweh, ye did service unto them which by nature are no God. So when the Israelites, when they knew not the Most High God, they did service unto them which by nature are no gods. They did service unto the idols. But now, after that ye have known God, after that ye have known Yahweh, or rather are known by Yahweh, how turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements, whereunto ye desire again to be in bondage? After, the Israelites, every single time, I started off with the book of Exodus, when the Most High God, said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And right after he delivered them from the wilderness, they made a golden calf and started worshiping it again. And it's saying, but so going back to the book of Galatians chapter 4, right? This is verse 9, says, but now after ye have known Yahweh, after ye have known God, or rather are known by Yahweh, basically after the Most High God has revealed himself to you and has accepted you, and or rather are known by God, or known by Yahweh, how turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements, whereunto ye desire again to be in bondage? Because every single time that we turn to these idols, the Most High God puts us in slavery, in bondage, in captivity, in subjection under all these nations. And so the Most High had revealed himself to us, and also, showed us mercy. And then we turn again into, to these weak and beggarly elements, these idols, whereunto ye desire to be in bondage again. The end result of it is that the Most High will put us in bondage, but obviously this is the last, the Roman kingdom, which is, all these European nations are an extension of the Roman Empire. This is the very last captivity before the kingdom of heaven is established. But this is reading from the book of Galatians, obviously, saying that we always kept always kept going back to these idols, worshiping these different things, even till today. Most Israelites, 2/3 of the Israelites are going to perish because they will not accept the truth. They will continue to worship, the inventions of the so-called white man, and the inventions of all these nations. They will continue to worship their iPhones, their cars, this and that, and so on and so forth. You know. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 44, starting off at verse 9. Okay. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their delectable things shall not profit. So all the beautiful, when you see these idols, they're beautiful, quote unquote beautiful gold and just blue, purple, colors and all this, coins and just different things. You've seen them. They put chocolates and all sorts of things. I mean, these are the delectable things. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their delectable things shall not profit. All their beauty, there's no profit in that. And they are their own witnesses. They see not, nor know that they may be ashamed. They see not nor know that they may be ashamed. Who hath formed a god, or molten a graven image that is profitable for nothing? It's profitable for nothing. There's nothing in it. Behold, verse 11, behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen they are of men. Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen they are of men. Let them all be gathered together, let them stand up, yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together. Even with the gods, and I mean, those gods, they give you no confidence. They give you, you'll always still be afraid because you don't know the truth. But we that know the truth, and that know that the kingdom of heaven is coming, and that will have everlasting life, and that will never be in bondage again, we're free. We're truly free. Okay, verse 12. Okay, Isaiah chapter 44, verse 12. The smith with the thong, or with the tongs, basically the smith, the iron worker with the tongs, both worketh in the coals, and fashioneth it with hammers, and worketh it with the strength of his arms. Yea, he is hungry, and his strength faileth. He drinketh no water, and is faint. The carpenter stretcheth out his rule. Basically, the carpenter stretches out his ruler. He marketh it out with a line. He draws the line. He fitteth it with planes, and he marketh it out with the compass. He uses his compass, and so on and so forth, and maketh it after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of a man, that it may remain in the house. So these, it's man that designs all these idols, all these, Krishna and all this Buddha and all this other, all of that. He heweth him down cedars, and taketh the cypress and the oak. So he cuts down the tree, the cedar tree and the cypress and the oak, which he strengtheneth for himself among the trees of the forest. He planteth an ash, and the rain doth nourish it. Then shall it be for a man to burn, for he will take thereof and warm himself. Yea, he kindleth it and baketh bread. Yea, he maketh a god and worshippeth it. He maketh it a graven image, and falleth down thereto. So he worships this thing that he made from a tree, and so on and so forth. And even part of it he uses to bake bread. Part of the wood and stone, so on and so forth, he uses to bake bread, and the remainder of it he falls down to worship it. How, just unimaginable. He burneth part thereof in the fire. With part thereof he eateth flesh. So with part of it he uses to roast his meat or whatever, because he's tired from working and all this stuff. He burneth part thereof in the fire. With part thereof he eateth flesh. He roasteth roast, and is satisfied. Yea, he warmeth himself. He even warms himself with part of the the wood and so on and so forth, and saith, Ah, I am warm. I have seen the fire. Verse 17. And the residue, so the remainder of it, the residue thereof he maketh a god. The remainder of the wood he uses to make a god. I mean, just mind-boggling. Even his graven image He falleth down unto it, and worshipeth it, and prayeth unto it, and saith, Deliver me, for thou art my God. They have not known nor understood, for he hath shut their eyes. The Most High is the one that shut their eyes, because the word is not for everyone. It's for the Israelites predominantly, at least now in the kingdom of heaven. Yes, all these other nations will come to understand that our God is a true living God, the creator of heaven and earth and the creator of all things. But for now, all these nations, there is nothing to him, because they were made to serve us. So he shut their eyes because it's not time for them to understand. They have not known nor understood, for he hath shut their eyes that they cannot see, and their hearts that they cannot understand. It's the Lord that shut because it's not for them. And none considereth in his heart, neither is there knowledge nor understanding to say, I have burned part. You see, and none considereth in his heart, neither is there knowledge nor understanding to say, I have burned part of it in the fire. Yea, also I have baked bread upon the coals thereof. I have roasted flesh and eaten it. And shall I make the residue thereof an abomination? You take the wood, you cook some meat, you bake some bread, you do this and do that with the wood, and then the remainder of it you use to make an abomination. You used to make a god, which is an abomination. It just makes no sense. There's no knowledge in him, is basically what the Lord is saying. It says, and none consider it. So he says they don't consider, and none considereth in his heart. Neither is there knowledge nor understanding to say, I have burned part of it in the fire. Yea, also I have baked bread upon the coals thereof. I have roasted flesh and eaten it. And shall I make the residue thereof an abomination? Shall I fall down to the stalk of a tree? He feedeth on ashes. A deceived heart hath turned him aside, that he cannot deliver his soul, nor say, Is there not a lie in my right hand? It's all madness. It's all foolishness. This is the book of Galatians chapter 5, verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery. So after all of this, the works of the flesh are manifest, because this is the cause of idolatry. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: idolatry, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, right? Lasciviousness, uncontrollable lust and sexual, immorality, idolatry, right? The first one was adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness. Now verse 20, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, basically disagreement, and just, variance and strife and emulation, right? Emulation is just, just competition and just, wanting to outdo each other and so on and so forth. Wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, which are basically just blasphemies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revilings, which is just, parties and just, orgies and all sorts of things, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. This is the cause of idolatry. This is what, this is the result of idolatry, essentially, is what it's saying. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 14. Wherefore, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry. Flee from idolatry, so that you don't fall into all these things, right? Now, this is the book of, this is the letter of Jeremiah, right? Which is part of the Apocrypha, one of the 14 books that were taken out by the, by the deceitful Roman Catholic Church. We're going to start at verse 16. Letter of Jeremiah, starting at verse 16. Whereby they are known not to be gods, therefore fear them not. For like as a vessel that a man useth is nothing worth when it is broken, even so it is when they're gods. When they be set up in the temple, their eyes be full of dust through the feet of them that come in. So again, for like as a vessel that a man use it, when it is use it is worth nothing, is worth naught, or worth nothing when it is broken like a cup, right? When you break it, it's worth nothing. I mean, is even so it is with their gods. Their gods are worth nothing. When they be set up in the temple, their eyes be full of dust through the feet of them that come in. I mean, people come in and out to worship these gods, and the statues, and so they're just dusty. The eyes of them are dusty, and I mean, it's just a bunch of crap, a bunch of nonsense. This is verse 18. And as the doors are made sure on every side upon him that offended the king, as being committed to suffer death, even so the priests make fast their temples with doors, with locks and bars, lest their gods be spoiled with robbers. So, the priests have to lock up the doors and lock up the temple and so on and so forth, so that nobody comes in there and steals their golden statues or whatever, or what have you, which is their golden gods, and their silver or bronze statue, which is their god, which is just madness. They light them candles, yea, more than for themselves, whereof they cannot see. I mean, they put all these candles around all these gods, and so on and so forth, just a million candles around the gods, even more than they themselves use. But these gods cannot see. It's like, it's just a waste of resources. Verse 20, they are as none of the beams of the temple. They are as one of the beams of the temple. So these statues, these gods, they just sit in the temple like one of the pillars in the temple. Yet they say their hearts are gnawed upon by things creeping out of the earth, and when they eat them and their clothes, they feel nothing. So these statues are made with wood, of wood and what have you, and let's say termites or whatever, the creeping things of the earth will eat the statue, and the statue feels nothing. Their faces are blacked through the smoke that cometh out of the temple. So the smoke that comes out of the temple, how carbon monoxide or whatever, it blackens the whole, their faces are blackened through the smoke that cometh out of the temple. You look at the exhaust pipe of your car, and you see how it blackens because of all the smoke and so on and so forth. That's basically what it's saying. Their faces are blackened through the smoke that cometh out of the temple. Upon their bodies and heads sit bats, swallows and birds, and the cats also. So these they're gods. You have bats and birds, just pooping on the, just shitting on the head of the statue, on the head of their gods, and so on and so forth, which is just crazy. Upon their bodies and heads sit bats, swallows, and birds, and the cats also. By this ye may know that there are no gods. Therefore fear them not. Notwithstanding, the gold that is about them to make them beautiful, except they wipe off the rust, they will not shine. For neither when they are molten did they feel it. So these gods, they're just, you have to polish it all the time in order for it to shine. And I mean, this is your god, but you gotta wipe off the rust. You gotta polish it. Even when it was being made by the smith, it didn't feel it. It didn't feel the fire. That's what it's saying. For neither when they were molten did they feel it. They didn't feel these gods, they have no feelings. The things wherein there is no breath are brought forth, are bought for a most high price. These things that have no life, you see them, they sell them in the stores. They're little Buddhas and they're little, Krishnas and so on and so forth, and they pay enormous amounts for it. Right? They are borne upon shoulders. You carry them. You see them when there's a flood, in the town or in the temple. You see these idiots. They have to carry their gods on the shoulders in order to save them, and so on and so forth. They are borne upon shoulders, having no feet, whereby they declare unto men that they be nothing worth. That's how you know that they're worthless. They can't save themselves even from a little flood. They also that serve them are ashamed. Even the people that serve them, they're ashamed, like in the true sense of it. Like when you see a person when you see all these nations that serve all these gods and all these statues, and so they're ashamed. They also that serve them are ashamed, for if they fall to the ground at any time, they cannot rise up again of themselves. I mean, these statues, when they fall, they cannot get up. Neither if one set them upright can they move of themselves. They cannot move. Neither if they be bowed down can they make themselves straight. But they set gifts before them as unto dead men. These statues have no life in them, but yet you give, you set all these gifts around it, and I mean, it just makes no sense. As for the things that are sacrificed unto them, their priests sell them and abuse. In like manner, their wives lay up part thereof in salt, but unto the poor and impotent they give nothing of it. So all the gifts and all the sacrifices that people come and bring to these false gods and so on and so forth, the priest takes it and sells it because they're corrupt. They sell it for profit, but nothing. They have nothing to give to the poor and to the impotent, basically, which is to the childless, or to the to the disabled, to the disadvantaged. They have nothing to give, but they take it and they sell it for profit because these priests, they're corrupt. It's just all a bunch of nonsense. It says, menstruous women and women in childbed eat their sacrifices. By these things ye may know that they are no gods. Fear them not. For how can they be called gods, because women set meat before them? For how can they be called gods, because women set meat before the gods of silver, gold, and wood? Just because women bring all these offerings and so on and so forth to meat and so on and so forth. I mean, these are not gods. This is just foolishness. And the priests sit in their temples, having their clothes rent. The priests sit in the temples, having their clothes like torn and so on and so forth, and their heads and their beards shaved, and nothing upon their heads. Even the priests, they have nothing. Even the priests are poor. The priests come out with rags, but they give all these things, all these resources to the gods. They roar and cry before their gods as men do at the feast when one is dead. Their priests also take off their garments and clothe their wives and children. So even the priests take off the garments that they put on these idols and so on and so forth, in order for their children and their wives to have some clothes to wear. Whether it be evil that one doeth unto them, or good, they are not able to recompense. So you can do anything to these statues. They don't know. They're dumb idols. They don't know. You can kick it in the head or whatever. It has no clue. Whether it be evil that one doeth unto them, or good, they are not able to recompense it. They can neither set up a king nor put him down. It's the Lord God that sets up kings and brings down kings. These statues cannot do that. Verse 35, in like manner, they can neither give riches nor money. It's the Lord that gives money. It's the Lord that it's nothing for the Lord to make you rich overnight. In like manner, they can neither give riches nor money. Though a man may make a vow unto them and keep it not, they will not require it. If you make a vow to the Lord, you have to keep that vow. If you make a vow to serve the Lord, the Most High God, you have to keep that vow. But if you make a vow to an idol or one of these, false gods, you don't have to keep it. It means absolutely nothing, right? That's what it's saying. In like manner, they can neither give riches nor money. Though a man make a vow unto them and keep it not, they will not require it. They can save no man from death, neither deliver the weak from the mighty. They cannot restore a blind man to his sight, nor help any man in his distress. They can show no mercy to the widow, nor do good to the fatherless. Their gods of wood, and which are overlaid with gold and silver, are like the stones that be hewed out of the mountain. They that worship them shall be confounded. Their gods are made of stones that are carved from mountains and so on and so forth. And those that worship them are just confused. How should a man then think and say that they are gods, when even the Chaldeans themselves dishonor them? Even the astrologers and the stargazers and the monthly prognosticators and on all these just all these so-called wise men that dabble in all sorts of witchcraft, they know that these things are not gods, right? So this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. We're going to start at verse 8. But that which is made with hands is cursed. So these gods are cursed. That which is made with hands is cursed, as well it, as well it, as he that made it. So basically, as well as also he that made it is cursed. He, because he made it, and it, because being corruptible, it was called God. So the man who made it is cursed, and that, the thing that he made is also cursed, because from it comes all these, it's corrupted, it's corruptible, and it's being called God. The Most High God does not share his glory with anything or anyone. Verse 9, right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 9. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto God, hateful unto Yahweh. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation. So even upon the idols, the idols are going to be melted and going to be destroyed when that time comes, because in the creature of God, or in the creature of Yahweh, they are become an abomination, right? And stumbling blocks. These are the things that deceive men. You see, black folks saying that they're Buddhist, or they're this, or they're that, when these are the chosen people of the Most High God, right? Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of God, or in the creature of Yahweh, they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication. Yeah, this is how spiritual fornication began, from the devising of idols, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. These things were not in the beginning. Is only the Lord was there in the beginning, right? He's the Ancient of Days. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. Okay? For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. It's because of the vainglory of men that they started making idols, clueless, senseless men. And so, these things are not going to last forever. These things are going to be destroyed when the time comes. This is the book of Bel and the Dragon, which is also, in the Apocrypha. Bel and the Dragon, chapter 1, verse 3, starting off with verse 3. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Bel, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. This is what they would offer to their so-called god Bel, the Babylonians. 12 great measures of fine flour. That's a lot of resources. And 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. That's a lot of resources that they would offer to this god. And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. The king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. Remember Daniel, this is when Daniel was in captivity, when the Israelites were in captivity under the Babylonians. But Daniel worshipped his own God, which is Yahweh. And the king, the creator of heaven and earth. And the king said unto him, why doesn't not thou worship Bel? Why how come you don't worship Bel? Who answered and said, Daniel answered and said, because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who hath created the heaven and the earth, and hath sovereignty over all flesh. Daniel is telling him that I don't worship this stuff. I worship the living God who created everything. Then said the king unto him, thinkest thou not that Bel is living? Like, you don't think that Bel is alive? Remember, the reason that Daniel has interaction with the king is because, Daniel was made like one of the king's men. When these nations, when they came and when they come and put the Israelites in captivity, they take the princes, the greatest men of the Israelites, and use them, to make their kingdoms greater. That's why Daniel is having these interactions, he's able to have these interactions with the king, because he's senior even in Babylon. He's a senior person even in Babylon, but he still sticks to the worship of his own God, right? And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it, but Daniel worshipped his own God And the king said unto him, Why doesn't not thou worship Baal? Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who hath created the heaven and the earth, and hath sovereignty over all flesh. Then said the king unto him, Thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God? Like, you don't think that Baal is alive? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Like, don't you see how much he eats? He eats all the flour and the sheep and all the wine he drinks. Like, you don't see that? Because the king himself has no clue what's going on. Then said the king unto him, right, thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within. Like, this crap is made of clay, and outside of it is made of brass. He said, for this is but clay within and brass without. So inside of it is nothing but clay. Outside of it is made of brass. And did never eat nor drink, and did never eat or drink anything. Like, this thing does not eat anything, king. So the king was wroth. The king was angry, like, what the hell is going on? And called for his priests, and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, because the priests, they were corrupt. You know, the priests will take all these things and sell them, and they would even deceive the king. So the king had no clue what was going on. So the king was wroth, and called his priests, and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. So all these expensive gifts, all these expenses, all these resources, who's eating y'all got to tell me who's eating this stuff. Like, what in the world is going on here, right? But if ye can certify me that Baal devoured them, but it's saying that if you can convince me that it's Baal, this God that actually eats all these things, then I'm gonna kill Daniel. Then Daniel shall die, for he hath spoken blasphemy against Baal. So he said that if you can show me that Baal is the one that actually eats all these things, you know, then I'm gonna have to take Daniel. I'm gonna have to take Daniel out, because Daniel is committing blasphemy against Baal. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. So Daniel was like, okay, let's see, you know, let's have them prove it. Then this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 8. I am the Lord, that is my name. I am Yahweh, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. The Most High God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the creator of heaven and earth. He does not share his glory with anything or anyone. Point blank, period. Lastly, this is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 20. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. Even the invisible things, like the air that you breathe, you know, it's invisible, but it's clearly seen in the sense that, you know, let's finish it up real quickly. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood. It's understood. You don't see the air, but you understand it. We understand it. Being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuses. So we know for a fact that there is a living God because of the intelligence. I mean, you look at how far we've come as humans in life, and just the understanding of how things work, and just the elements and so on and so forth. I mean, there is a living God, so there is no excuse. We know for a fact, you know, that these things were created. They were made something by some form of intelligence, which is the Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to you all. On to the next one. Shalom.